at a value price, $13,995, or a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with one owner. Sporty and affordable, $11,995 at Tommy Autos.
Buy here, pay here. Financing options available. Everyone is approved. Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street, Panama City, 850-960-8664. For the latest deals and specials, follow Tommy Autos on Facebook. Add tag, tax, and title. CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City. Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Beach Pizza, formerly Marshall's Pizza, is back with more hours and more pizza. Beach Pizza has new owners and now open every day, 11 to 11. Pizza by the slice, whole pies, wings, pretzels, garlic knots, and more choice eats in East PCB. I finally tried a slice, and it was a thin crust, totes, cheesy slice of paradise. 8815 B Thomas Drive, online at beachpizzapcb.com. Call ahead, 850-775-4053.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the inside drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Thursday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach. 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. If you don't have an opportunity to listen on the radio, you can listen on social media. 3 great local shows every day. Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9. Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1. And, of course, the afternoon Underdogs coming up from 4 to 6. One more bridge show today with the Atlanta Braves coming up.
Well, yesterday was planned to be a bridge, but then the Braves got postponed, so we ran till 6. Today, if the Braves are playing and first pitch is at 5:45, we will go till 5:45. If they get postponed, we will go till 6.
There you go. There you go. The official lineup for your Atlanta Braves. We appreciate Bill Berg Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto and Hometown Towing, as well as Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control for bringing you guys the Atlanta Braves when they're not during a normal show, except sometimes the afternoon Underdogs. Just 15 minutes or so. show. So they get cut off, but everybody wants to hear those Braves just as much as David's sweet, sweet voice. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. 104.3 is all you got to search up. You search it up, download it. You can take us wherever you go and maybe get an opportunity to win a T-shirt or two, as we give a lot of T-shirts away in that free mobile app. So make sure you have it downloaded. And last but not least, head over to ESPNPC.com. You can click listen live there as well. But while you're there, you got to sign up for Scorpion TV. Code ESPNNW gets you $45 a month, over 5,000 channels streaming on demand, over 10,000 movies on demand, and you can watch all the NFL games, all the stuff coming up. So now is really, a couple months, if you want to try it out, dive in there, and then NFL season's right around the corner. All the college games as well. Again, that's Scorpion TV at ESPNPC.com. Brian, how you doing today?
Doing well. Glad to be back.
Yeah, I missed one day yesterday. Glad to be back as well, but I'm so glad I didn't miss yesterday, as 7th grade awards were pretty special yesterday for my Ryan. I'm very, very proud of her. She's done a fantastic job. 7th grade, one of the harder grades over there at UA, and she's been fantastic, and with everything going on in our lives, continues to persevere and do a wonderful job. So congratulations to her winning the Principals Award yesterday. David, your drip is top-notch today.
Drip drop, baby.
Whew. And that's
when is my drip not top notch? Let's just be honest about that.
My drip's always the same. It's an ESPN.
That's not true. That's not true. You get drippy sometimes.
Sometimes.
I'm like, I left the faucet on this morning.
Not too often. I did get called out at Publix the other day. The guy doing the bagging, he's like, I've seen you in here before. You wear that shirt every time you're in here. I was like, no, I have 100 of them, and I gave a lot away, but I still have a good bit of my own supply, so you got to represent the brand, right?
I thought you weren't supposed to get high on your own supply. In this case, wearing shirts.
My own drip, yeah. But yeah,
I like that drip, though.
I know.
And those shirts are so comfortable.
They are comfy.
Too.
They are. That place, I forget the name of it. Maybe I can't really get, what was it? Something Brothers. But anyway, it was 100 shirts for $300.
Wow.
Might actually been $500, which was still like $5 a shirt. And, I've given a lot away, and maybe we'll add a few to the app giveaways. But, yeah, drip's looking good, rocking the Pacer gear. We'll dive into the crazy NBA game in the next segment. I'm going to start off with a little NFL action. As many know, Colts owner Jim Irsay passed away yesterday, and a statement from Colts COO Pete Ward. We are devastated to announce our beloved owner and CEO Jim Irsay passed away peacefully in his sleep this afternoon. Jim's dedication and passion for the Indianapolis Colts, in addition to his generosity, commitment to the community, and most importantly, his love for his family, were unsurpassed. Our deepest sympathies go to his daughters, Carly Irsay Gordon and Casey Foyt, Kalen Jackson, and his entire family as we grieve with them. Some of Jim's fondest moments came from his youth work training camps in Baltimore and growing relationships with the players, coaches, and staff whom he considered his extended family. He worked in every department before he was named the youngest general manager in team history in 1984 when the Colts arrived in Indianapolis. After he took sole ownership in 1997, he led the Colts to a long series of division titles and brought the city its first Super Bowl championship. Jim's love and appreciation for the NFL, in addition to its history, tradition, and principles, influenced him to become a steward of the game throughout his 50-plus years in the league. Jim's generosity can be felt all over Indianapolis, the state of Indiana, and the country. He made philanthropy a daily endeavor. He never hesitated to help countless organizations and individuals live better lives. Music was one of Jim's passion, and the ability to share his band and collection with millions of people across the world brought him tremendous joy. Simply put, he wanted to make the world a better place, and that philosophy never wavered. Jim will be deeply missed by his family, the Colts organization, and fans everywhere, but we remain inspired by his caring and unique spirit. Was he in bad health or anything like that?
And hadn't he had one or two issues like with heart? I know he actually had some alcohol issues before.
There was probably some other issues going on.
But I thought he had a heart issue a couple of years ago. But I was actually surprised I thought he was older than 65.
Yeah, I think that's the common, or the
because he'd been
consensus.
around so long. But
yeah,
wow.
no doubt. Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I said that too. I was watching the Pacers game with one of my Pacers buddies last night, and one of the first things I asked him was, "You heard about Jim Irsay?" He's like, "Yeah, I mean, that wasn't very surprising." Which I was like, "Yeah, I agree, but 65, man, that's crazy." He's like, "Yeah, but you know." You know.
Yep, no doubt. Peyton Manning also put out an statement on Instagram. "I am heartbroken to hear about Jim Irsay's passing. He was an incredible, generous, and passionate owner, and I will always be indebted to him for giving me my start in the NFL. His love for the Colts and the city of Indianapolis was unmatched. His impact on players who played for him will not be forgotten. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and everyone in the Colts community." Obviously, drafting Peyton Manning kind of changed the trajectory there after that first year for the Indianapolis Colts football organization. But obviously, rest in peace to Mr. Irsay, and thoughts and prayers for all his friends and family as we continue to move on here in the NFL world.
I was actually reading an interesting story about the tax ramifications of something valued as expensive as this is, which I think they're valued at $4.4 billion to his three daughters. And they say a lot of these people will transfer some of this stuff into trust while they're alive, but if not, the estate tax currently sitting at about 40%, be about $1.7 billion. And there is the highest exemption in history exists now, which you can do per year, $13.99 million per person. But that's a far cry from $1.7 billion. So I'm curious to see. Nobody really knows how this has played out with them, but just the implications of something like this, especially with a team, if it hasn't been set up right, what could end up happening is family has to sell.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because obviously it's been in the family for such a long time. I think 1986 they said. But yeah, I mean, that's a great point just in life in general. Like if you've got a few different house properties and stuff like that, make sure you get yourself a trust because it could get tied up in the courts for a long time.
And ironically, one of his daughters is married to A.J. Foyt's grandson. And it's Indy 500 week as well. So all this stuff hitting at the same time.
Indianapolis is a cool, kind of a wild place right now with everything going on. Doc A kind of touched on that on Tuesday as well. We're going to talk about the Indianapolis 500 a little bit later on and some of the controversies going on with Team Penske right now. And Team Penske let some people go due to these issues that they recently had. The tush push failed again, which I'm completely fine with. I've talked about it before. If a team has an advantage because there's something they can do, you can do the exact same thing. You just can't do it as well. So wanting to ban that. But there were 10 teams that voted against the tush push ban. That means they voted for it to not get banned. That was the Eagles, obviously, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, New Orleans Saints, New York Jets, and the Tennessee Titans. Those are the 10 teams that didn't want it to get banned. They had 22 that voted to get banned, but they needed 24 votes to ban that tush push. So it will stay alive at least for another year. And obviously there were some tempers flaring. I know the Niners owner, one of the owners, where the gentleman from Philadelphia was going on, and
Jeffrey Lurie.
Yes, he went on for an hour about why it shouldn't be banned, and I think it was Eddie. I don't know if it was Eddie or not, but he basically said, "We get it." And you don't have to say anything else. Like, you're beating the horse, you're beating the dead horse at this point. So there's a little bit of animosity, I guess, in the meeting because of how long it went by. And as expected, the NFL flag football, that you guys probably talked about that yesterday, has passed as well. We'll see how that all shakes out. I know the current quarterback for Team USA had a statement to say. I don't have that one off the top of my head, but was basically like, you got to give us a chance. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll be a lot of fun coming up in 2028 out there in the Los Angeles Summer Olympics. Let's see. Cam Ward officially signed his contract for y'all's Tennessee Titans. And
poor guy.
Yeah, tough gig coming off all that NFL, that NIL money. But he's looking good. He signed a $48.75 4-year $1 million contract with the Titans yesterday. According to Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz, the deal will include a $32.1 million signing bonus and a 5th-year team option. a stark difference from 5th-round draft pick Shedeur Sanders, who, as I mentioned on Tuesday, signed a rookie $4.6 million deal with $447,000 guaranteed. So, and that's obviously the difference between drafted number 1 and falling significantly in the draft, although I don't think Shedeur is hurting for any money.
No.
But he's obviously competing for a starting job up there in Cleveland. Some Hard Rocks have been announced. If you have HBO Max or whatever it's called nowadays, they change the title constantly. They'll have the Hard Knocks in season. It'll be with the NFC East this year. That's going to be the Giants, the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. But the official Hard Knocks, which always revolves around training camp, will premiere on August 5th with the Buffalo Bills. Brian, have you ever gotten to the Hard Rocks?
The very first one, because the cast of characters was so good. It was Shannon Sharp and Tony Siragusa and that Baltimore Ravens team. I remember Todd Heap was the rookie tight end who made the mistake of bringing his fiance to camp. And there were so many good storylines and so many good characters. Yeah. And I honestly haven't really watched much since then, just catch bits and pieces here.
It seems like if it's got, like you just said, a great cast of characters or your team that you love and follow in it, I feel like that's going to bring you more into watching it.
It's not the same, but I almost feel a little bit the way I felt. You remember that show, The Real World?
Yeah.
On MTV?
Yeah, absolutely.
If MTV's even a thing anymore.
It still is, but it's not like that.
I always thought the first one was legit.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were just trying to script it based on what they saw that worked.
Yeah,
I almost feel a bit of the same way. I think the Hard Knocks guys are playing to the camera since they saw the first one. So
makes sense.
It may not be fair, but that's kind of the way I feel about it.
I could see that for sure. The NFL is introducing a new award, which I thought was pretty cool. Giving the big guys a little bit of recognition. The NFL is introducing the Protector of the Year award, given to the league's best offensive linemen, as decided by a panel that includes a number of former O-line greats. Troy Vincent gives credit to Bills O-line Deion Dawkins and Andrew Whitworth for pushing this idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm actually surprised it hasn't existed in some form, and I'm trying to think. It ought to be named after who? Like, I'd say John Hanna.
Bruce Matthews.
Bruce would be good. I guess Orlando Pace Munoz would be great.
Yeah. Joe Thomas.
Yeah, Joe Thomas would be great. I'd like to see it named after somebody.
Yeah. But Andre Smith. Just he wasn't as great at the league, though, as what he was with the Tide.
Oh, goodness.
He was so highly touted,
He was.
Yeah. But cool stuff for the big guys who, if you don't have the big guys up front.
Tony Mandarich Award. There we go. You have to be of a certain age to know that one.
Yeah, no, I don't. So I'm not of that certain age.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints quarterback competition just got a little bit more interesting as quarterback Jake Haener, part of that three-way competition to become the team's starting quarterback, suffered an oblique strain at the end of Wednesday's practice and now is expected to miss a couple of weeks. Per league sources, Haener will likely miss the remainder of OTAs, but is expected to be ready for the start of training camp. Brian, how important is when you have these teams, the Steelers, the Saints, the Browns, with all these quarterback competitions, how important is that for you to be in there in the OTAs to start basically training for the team versus waiting towards to that mandatory minicamp?
I would think it's pretty darn important just in and of itself, because these are guys who, don't have a lot of reps. I mean, Rattler has a few, but Shug obviously does not at the pro level. Haener has very, very few.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what their entire, they had a wholesale coaching turnover, I would assume.
Yeah, they did.
So I would imagine just getting on the same page with the new staff would be critical, and the more time you have it would be good. So if we're talking about a normal year where the staff is the same and the guy has maybe had some reps, probably not as important as this situation would be.
Yeah, several quarterback situations that got to get figured out here in the next few months.
Yeah.
We'll see who the starters are. The Steelers, the Browns, the Saints. There's several of these teams that don't have a true veteran and starting quarterback.
I would say this certainly bumps Haener. He was probably 3 anyway, but it certainly bumps him to 3. It's not to say he can't climb the ladder, but it just adds another obstacle.
I've got a couple Jake Haener 1-of-1s, so I was hoping he'd get that starting job.
Yeah, you need him to get to the top.
To do something good, because I don't know why. I have a tendency to pull Haener cards in a lot of these packs, but one of my few 1-of-1s, so
there you go.
I'll hang on to it for a while.
Absolutely.
But speaking of Team Penske, and up there ahead of the Indianapolis 500, Team Penske announced on Wednesday the firing of team president Tim Cindric, managing director Ron Rzuski, and general manager Kyle Moore. Nothing is more important than the integrity of our sport and our race teams, team owner Roger Penske said. We have had an organizational failures during the last 2 years, and we have had to make necessary changes. I apologize to our fans, our partners, and organization for letting them down. This comes as Team Penske has been subject to the cheating allegations with the Indianapolis 500 only days away. The cars for the two-time Indy 500 winner Joseph Newgarden and Will Power failed a pre-qualifying inspection Sunday. IndyCar initially did not levy strong penalties against either driver, with Newgarden and Power slated to open this year's race on row 4. A day later, the organization issued a new ruling and ordered the drivers to start from the last row. Their team strategists are also suspended for the Indy 500, and each car received a $100,000 fine. Nathan Brown from the Indianapolis Star visited Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum to see Newgarden's winning car from 2024 and documented a similar modification to what was flagged in qualifying.
Hey, this is a pretty big deal, not just so much the cheating violations, but I'm sorry, I just saw Halliburton's shot go in there.
It's a showstopper.
You had to wait a little while for that to come down, huh?
But also the fact that this is the second major violation Penske's had in about a year. They actually, Newgarden had a wind strip from him last year for an issue. And Roger Penske is one of the true nice guys and legends of the sport. And you can tell that's a man whose integrity means more to him than wins. And for him to let Tim Cindric specifically go, Cindric's been with him 25 years. And is one of the big names in all of auto racing, both. You know, I mean, he's done stuff with NASCAR, but certainly with open wheel. So that's a big, big deal to let, 3 major executives go, but Tim Cindric in particular. So I think it goes to show more about Roger Penske, who he doesn't want any kind of blemish to the integrity of his name and his team going forward. So this is a big story.
It really is. We've actually interviewed Tim Cindric before on the afternoon show. Shout out to Greg Calver. Go Pacers if you're listening, bro. But so he is, as Brian mentioned, he's Penske is a great guy, and then obviously you got great guys underneath you, but you run into situations sometimes, and decisions have to be made. So I hate it for them, but knowing how Penske operates, I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah, there you go. That poop always flows uphill, it seems like, and it's going to take those guys at the top, and it certainly did. Nathan Brown tweeted photos of both sides of the Atonator on Joseph Newgarden's 2024 IndyCar winning car inside the IMS Museum. Clearly, the seam between parts of the Atonator, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, were filed and smoothed. Not aware of any rule change that would have allowed that to be legal a year ago. So I think he's saying that last year the car might have been modified illegally as well.
Yeah,
that's a bold.
And they won last year, didn't they?
Yeah, it's the winning car. Yep, and he's got a picture where you can.
I think he's won the last 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Visibly a lot different. So I mean, I'm sure that makes a huge difference with the aerodynamics of the car. But yeah, Indy 500 coming up this weekend. But coming up next, we got to take a break. When we get back, it's time to dive into that Indianapolis Pacers heroic comeback and victory in overtime.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Losing to Michigan, you're on the hot seat.
Did you see his face after that loss? I thought he was going to drop dead of a heart attack.
Yeah,
his face was red.
There was some demon that took over his body and made the words come out. Demons come out. Your quarterback said that.
On national TV.
On national TV.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Thursday. Some sun this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze out of the south-southwest around 11 miles per hour, and look for the high to be 84. Tonight, there will be clear skies with the temperature reaching 74 and a gentle breeze. Sunny tomorrow with a wind around 8 miles per hour and the high of 85. Saturday will have a high of 86 and sunshine. This weather is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Dust off your boots and get ready for some action. Let 'em Buck Productions presents the Vortex Spring 6th Annual Rodeo. This Friday and Saturday night starting at 7. Tickets are just $15. Buckaroos under 5 are free. Witness thrilling rodeo events sanctioned by the Professional Cowboy Association. We'll see you at the 6th Annual Vortex Spring Rodeo. Vortex Spring, 1517 Vortex Spring Lane in Ponce de Leon. For more information, call 850-258-8471.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. For the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf. You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. Listen to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coach Haddad in studio, DJ Davey Crockett behind the glass, rocking that absolutely stunning Indianapolis Pacers hat. Good day to rock the Pacers hat after these kids. They should just be called the comeback kids. It's just kind of what they do in the NBA playoffs this year.
The cardiac kid.
Cardiac kid. Well,
that's already been taken, though.
Yeah, probably. But, the AED kids. The AED
there
kids.
you go, the defibrillators.
Yes, the defibrillators. That's a good name for a softball team, the defibrillators. And you just got the two pads on the front of the jersey.
Yeah, right there.
And then when your walk-up music is, pads ready, please clear. Good oof. And then you guys hit home runs right when that happens. So anyway, it happened again last night. Obviously, a wild, wild victory for the New England, I was going to say the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Pacers. From some things from that game that are pretty wild. The New York Knicks led by 14 points with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. Win probability peaked at 99.7%. As a 0.03% chance for Indianapolis to win at that moment in the game. Indiana went on to score 20 points and force overtime. Another crazy one, this is the even crazier one. Teams up 14 in the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds of a playoff game were 997-0 since 1997. Now they're 997-1.
I wonder what the in-game line would have been.
Oh, man, at that point.
Would have been a good payout.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, too. Whatever. We were talking about it, like, I wonder what those odds were, because I didn't even look.
Yeah.
I was just,
because it would have been too appetizing, and then you could have, my thing would have been, I would have jinxed it.
Yeah, no doubt, but I wasn't even worried about looking at it. I was
so locked in.
Locked into that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, too. All right, so I was over at my buddy's house. This is a real quick story, but so when he puts his daughter to bed, everyone who's in the house at that point in time has to go read her a storybook. She makes everyone do it. So, all right. So we're sitting in there, and then you hear the crowd, and we're like, oh, man, this is not good. So when we come out, it's like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 minutes left, and it's like, oh, it's not looking good. And
I turned it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's no way they're coming back. And I turned it to hockey because that was just as exciting.
David hears all the cheering out there, and he goes, and they all ran away and lived happily ever after the end. And runs
well,
out.
no, because the cheering was bad because it's for the New York Knicks. Because so we're like, oh man. No, I wanted to open up the book, the beginning and the end.
Yes.
Have a good night, darling.
That's it. That's it.
But no, that was, and then we come out there, and then you just. you have this feeling once the threes start dropping.
Chills listening to you talk about it.
Yeah.
Naismith, just unbelievable what he did in the fourth quarter. 8 total threes in the game. That's a franchise record for 8 threes made in a playoff
career
game.
high for him. 8 of 9, which I think is the most impressive.
Yes,
Then when he hit that one in the fourth with about that got the run started.
Yep.
That was his 5th 3. And that one, all right, that was a great shot. Then the other ones are like, wait, you're just rising up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point, as a Pacers fan, you're like, I don't care if he misses right now.
Keep pulling him.
Let him shoot.
Yeah.
Like, don't give it to Hallie. Don't give it to Miles Turner. Just give it to Naismith. And
the Knicks weren't even guarding him strong.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, here, have a shot. Have a shot.
Josh Hart was treating the hardwood like it was slip and slide. I mean, you had that one that Nembhard got his fingers on, and then to end overtime. Because with Halliburton hitting that shot and then doing the Reggie sign and all of that stuff. Right. And, he's answered to all of that. But then you're like, okay, well, the momentum feels in our favor, but did that just open it up for New York because you're celebrating too early? And then you get into overtime. New York starts out hot. And so the Pacers kind of start answering back, which I love when they do that, man, because the defense just starts locking up. Jalen Brunson was getting tired because Thibodeau, I mean, they're not as deep as the Pacers. No one's giving the
Brunson
credit.
Fouled out, didn't he? Oh, no, he had 5 fouls.
He had 5.
So he wasn't in there towards the end of the regulation, right?
Right, yeah. I say no one's giving them credit. People are giving them credit, but the Pacers are deep, and a lot of those players that, with their depth, are underrated.
Yeah.
And so that helps them stay fresh and keep up with Jalen Brunson, who's an absolute dog. 42 points last night. Karl Anthony Towns, it's not like the Knicks played a bad game. No. In fact, I think you can make the argument that the Pacers played a bad game, but they just you can't never count them out.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, since 1997, teams are now 4 and 1,702 while trailing by 7+ points in the final 50 seconds of a playoff game. The wild part of those 4, 3 of them are all Pacers wins and all in this postseason. So nothing that's ever really been done except one time before this postseason, and now the Pacers have 3 of them. But I mean, that was a heartbreak when he hit that shot. You could literally hear everything people were saying in that building in MSG because it got so quiet so quick. And you even heard one guy when the ball got tipped out and it hit Brunson's fingers. Brunson was like, that was like a football play. It reminded me of the Super Bowl with the Niners when Devontae Smith didn't catch it and then they ran back up, got the playoff, and they challenged it.
Was that NFC Championship? Because it was 49ers Tigers.
Yes. That was the UCL tear game. But yeah, it reminded me of that. And Brunson's like, we got to get the ball and we got to get he knew it hit him.
Then, you could see it in his face when you watched the replay. Like, oh, that's out on me.
Yeah, because you could see his 3 fingers really move, and then some guy in the crowd was effing this, BSing that, and you could hear it loud and clear because there was nobody talking very loud. Because I feel like at that time the Knicks fans could see what was happening. They're like, oh my God, they're going to do it again. But
I think the best part is at the end of the game when there's 0.2 seconds, you know it's over, and Van Gundy's like, you could just hand the ball to Karl Anthony Towns. I'm like, if he does that, that'll be so funny. Tyrese just tosses it to Karl Anthony Towns. Like, oh my goodness, this series. I mean, it's like the hockey is amazing, right? But this is the basketball version of hockey. The way they just at the end of the game when all the bodies are on the floor, you might as well just let the bodies in the floor.
Drowning Pool playing in the background. Yeah, no, it was true, absolutely wild, and it's what you want. That's what the NBA wants. It's what's the networks wants. What everybody wants, and it led up to the hype of the rivalry renewed very, very quickly in this series. Obviously, Game 2 will be back there at MSG before we switch to Indianapolis. It's Game 4, right? That the New York firefighter will be flown out to watch that one.
Yeah, Game 4
by Halliburton. Shoo, man. What do you feel? You feel they're going to get this series?
Oh, 100%.
No, I they've already 100%. Stole one on the road.
But we were talking about this yesterday with Max. For me, I had the Pacers in 6. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. But that was contingent on them winning 1 in Madison Square Garden of the first 2 games. Yeah. And they did that.
Check.
Yeah, exactly. So, honestly, I see this one still going 6. I think we win Friday at Madison Square Garden. Ooh. Then I think New York wins to open up in Indiana. Then Indiana bounces back, wins. That's 3-1. Then we go back to New York New York wins.
Drop
That's
that
3-2, and then they close it out in Game 6 at Indianapolis.
I think all the fans that have tickets to Game 6 would
Yeah, would
certainly
love that.
certainly love that scenario. But pretty wild. Brian, what do you think? You think they're going to take them down?
I think 5 as well, but I think the Knicks get Game 2. And then I think Indiana just sweeps them from there.
Ooh, it's a gentleman's sweep.
Yep.
Where did the term gentleman's sweep come from?
Oh, that's fun.
I don't know. They needed something to make 4-1 sound better.
yeah, because it's still a butt whooping, but it's a gentleman's butt whooping. I know David's looking it up right now. We get back.
So the term gentleman's sweep in sports, particularly basketball, refers to a series where a dominant team wins the first 3 games and allows. This is just okay. Hold on. Here we go. The term originally referred to a team going up 3-0, then losing Game 4 before winning the series in Game 5.
Kind of like you're being a gentleman, letting them win one game or something like that.
Yeah, that's the implied courtesy.
Implied courtesy.
Financial incentives. In the NBA, there are financial incentives for teams to win in 4 games, but some teams may choose to prolong the series to host the final game at home, which is also sometimes referred to as a gentleman's sweep.
Well, that was a big deal back in the early 1900s with baseball. In fact, there's a lot of talk about that was why a lot of the World Series back then were 9 games, because they hoped they'd get more revenue and like that, because you didn't have TV money back then, obviously.
Purely ticket money.
And there was always the talk about games being thrown in order for more home games to be had. So
Gotcha.
Who knows?
Gotcha. Yeah. No, interesting stuff, but we got another series that gets back underway tonight. The Oklahoma City Thunder I'm sure you guys talked about this yesterday, but I wasn't here yesterday. Oklahoma City Thunder took it to the Timberwolves in Game 1. And what do you think about game? We'll pick the game later on today, so let's pivot over to, where do I want to go? Should we go to the hockey world? I don't know if you watched any of that last night, David.
Not a single puck drop. I know the score.
Yeah, you were stuck on that. I mean, and that game was wild, too, because for 40 minutes in that game, the Edmonton Oilers were leading that one pretty significantly. I mean, it was 3-1, which is a solid lead. One of the most, what do we call that, the most dangerous lead in hockey, 3-1?
I think 3-goal lead is the most
because you get
dangerous
that momentum.
lead in hockey.
And it proved to certainly be the case last night, as Edmonton did get up 3-1 after that second period. But, man, talk about comebacks. Same thing happened. It was kind of it didn't have the drama that obviously that the Pacers and Knicks game had. But certainly disappointing for the road team and the Edmonton Oilers. And the Dallas fans had a lot to cheer about in that third and final period. Like I said, Draisaitl opened up the scoring earlier, about halfway through the first period, and then Tyler Seguin got in on a breakaway and scored a nice goal on that one past Skinner. And then second period, you had 2 goals scored by the Edmonton Oilers, 1 on a power play, 1 in full strength. And then the third period came. Edmonton was feeling good. Everything changed, and we talk about scoring a goal before the end of the period, how much that changes momentum. But when you score a goal 32 seconds into the period on a carry-over power play to get within 1 goal, all that momentum just shifts. And at this point, it shifts to the home team. They followed that goal up by 2 more power play goals. Edmonton could not stay out of the box in the third period. So they were tied 3-3, only 3 minutes and 49 seconds into that third period. Right after that, a couple minutes later, another power play goal. Matt Duchene scores to put Dallas up 4-3. Completely flipped the script in that game. Tyler Seguin added another goal with about 4 minutes left in the period to make it 5-3. And then, of course, they had the empty netter as well to put that one away 6-5. Dallas takes a 1-0 series lead against those Edmonton Oilers. And when we talk to Al again next week, depending on where we are in the series, I think Steve Skinner was the CEO of Kemper Sports. I don't know what Skinner's first name is, but he kind of came back to the goalie that was getting Stuart Skinner. I know it was an SS. He kind of came back to what he was being criticized early in that series for. But another game will get underway tonight, and it's conference championships. We're kind of going every other. We don't have all the fire hose to drink from playoff games, but certainly exciting going back and forth between. And I had turned off the Pacers game when they were down by 14.
14, yeah.
And the Knicks were just hitting everything at that point. So I went back to the hockey game, and it was at that point, I think it was like 3-3.
Yeah, they just tied it up?
Yeah, and then I went back to the Pacers game, and that started getting better, so I ignored the hockey game, and then I looked at the score on my phone. I was like, wait, what happened? At that point, then it was like 5-3, and I was like, holy crap, Dallas just went on a hot run there in the third period. But that's playoff hockey. That's what that is what it is all about. I'm sure you guys talked about this yesterday, too, but Game 1 of the Panthers-Hurricane series.
I don't think we brought up any hockey yesterday.
Yeah, Max was running the ship. That's right. When he got here. When he got here.
Yeah, but he was just like, it was like 5 or 6 minutes. No big deal.
If you're not early, you're not on time.
Yeah, true.
There you go. But he thought that James was going to be here.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, all right, well, no worries. Like,
just talk about yourself for a few minutes.
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal. But yeah, the Panthers just looked strong against the Carolina Hurricanes in that first game, really dominating it on the road too, which was kind of surprising. They won that one 5-2, and you thought it was going to be a little closer, a little more physical battle, but Hurricanes really need to win this one tonight, because if the Panthers steal both on the road, this could be a conference final sweep, and that's not good for anybody to see a quick 4-game, unless you're a Panthers fan, of course. You'd love to see it shut down 4-0 in a quick series sweep, but Carolina's still favored in this one. They are -130. We'll pick that game with the lines later on today. I'm sure it's -1.5, and the over-under is 5.5, as that seems to be every NHL game that we talk about. But
unless Edmonton's playing, then it feels like it's at 6.5. I don't know what Dallas and Edmonton were at yesterday, but
I don't know either. That's actually a good question, and I'm going to find out the answer, because ESPN does a good job putting all those little check marks. It was 6.5. And they obviously got way over that one. But yeah, 6.5 in that one, and the money line, or the spread, was -1.5. Yeah. Dallas was significantly favored on the money line as well. But yeah, NHL, NBA, rocking and rolling. It is playoff season. It is also softball regional season and SEC and baseball tournament season. So a lot going on right now. Before we end this segment, I will update everybody on the Women's Golf National Championship, as I was watching that in kind of it was on all afternoon with Florida State. With the final four teams, Florida State won their opening match in match play and then had to go up against Stanford, who's just a powerhouse when it comes to golf. And Florida State fought all the way through. They lost 2 matches kind of significantly, and then they had 3 matches at one time where either all tied or Florida State had a lead in them, but the putts were just not dropping down the stretch, and Stanford was hitting every shot so close to the hole, making it tough on Florida State. Florida State ended up going on to lose that semifinal match, which put Northwestern and Stanford in the final. Northwestern beat the Oregon Ducks in their semifinal match, and Stanford went on to win the national championship as the #1 seed. They didn't finish one of the matches because at that point they'd already won 3, and it is a race to 3, just like it is in the beach volleyball national championship.
I've always wondered your take on that. So let's say the team thing is decided. Do you, just as a golfer, do you think they should play it out honestly, or are you fine with, basically forfeiting the match?
And that plays into the Ryder Cup as well.
Right.
If it was me and I was leading, I'd probably want to keep playing, just because, getting a win is a win, regardless if it affects the overall team or not.
Sure.
Do I have an issue with them drop? No.
Yeah.
No.
I've always wanted to ask you that, because
you see it often in the Ryder Cup, especially because more often than not in those single matches on Sunday, the last few matches don't often matter too much, but usually they'll just concede the match, whoever's leading, and kind of go from there. But the #1 ranked Stanford Cardinal have won, I think they won last year as well, so I believe that's back-to-back women's national championships.
Hey, at least it stayed in the ACC.
Yeah,
right?
Which is wild. When I was watching Florida State play Stanford, I was like, wait, this is an ACC matchup.
Yeah.
This is wild. This is crazy. But the men's golf national championship will be coming up later this week. Kind of that same schedule, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then the final championship match on Wednesday of next week. But another great season. I think that's 9 seasons in a row, if not more, that Amy Bonds-led Florida State Seminoles made it to the national championship. I got to ask her how many times they've made it to the match play, because making it to the national championship is a feat in itself, but making it to the final 8 teams in the national championship is an even bigger feat, because it's just so hard to get there.
And then they award the individual national champions based on the stroke play?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
through those through those 4 rounds, they that's the individual national champion, and I believe, I don't have it right in front of me, it was a girl from Stanford, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, David Hayes. Don't quote me on that, but we got to take a quick break. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
The Atlanta Braves made it to 500 and gaining ground in the East.
Ozzie to Allen, Allen to first, and that's a double play for the win.
Tonight, the Bravos look to batter the struggling Washington Nationals. We'll have live play-by-play coming up at 5:45 from National Park, right here on your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Get ready for your next adventure and discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia today. Check out the 2025 SUV family. The road is yours. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage or a 2025 Kia Sorento. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind that you can trust. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. See us today.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage and a 2025 Sorento with $1,748 per month for $1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 6/2/25.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Now back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
It's alive! What's alive? We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I apologize to all the Arkansas Razorbacks out there, as it wasn't a Stanford Cardinal that won the individual national championship for the women's golf. It was Maria Jose Marin. She was your individual national champion from the University of Arkansas. I'm not sure if they even...
Woo pig.
Yeah, woo pig. Probably the first and last time I'll ever say that. It just doesn't.
I don't know. You did end the show the other day with Roll Tide, so.
No.
Oh, I want tape of that.
No, that was who was sitting? That was Paul.
No, that was you.
No, it wasn't. That was Paul. That's why I was like, you're killing people. No. That was Paul. 100%.
I'm telling everyone it was Ryan.
You apparently thought it was me. No, it was him. He went Roll Tide, and
it was
then we
Tuesday.
Cut. Yeah, it was.
Oh, now I got to go back and listen because
No, it was Monday. It was Monday because Paul was in the studio.
All right.
No, I'm telling everybody it was Ryan.
I forget a lot of stuff too, so maybe I said it on Tuesday, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's how you ended the. You're like Roll Tide. I was like,
well,
what?
Paul snuck one in at the end of Monday.
Yeah, well,
that's why I was like,
deservedly so, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get cut from the show. Oh goodness, there it is again. They just keep showing the shot. I wonder how many times it's been shown on national TV. But they all thought they won too. It was a little different.
Oh yeah,
a little different. Anyway, just wanted to apologize to Maria Jose Marin in case she was listening to the show. Don't want to take anything.
Oh, they all listen.
No doubt.
They listen.
No doubt. There is no doubt about that. All right, let's talk. I know it doesn't get started until tomorrow, but if anybody wants to make the trip over there, it's an opportunity to go check out some regional softball or super regional softball action. You've got the Oregon Ducks versus the Liberty Flames. Can the Liberty Flames outlast the Ducks? Starting tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday.
it's a pretty big hike across country, coming off of such a big deal win. Yeah. And a lot of times you'll see teams flat when they have that thing. And game one is so important in a super regional. So I would say no. I would say this is going to look like Oregon probably sweeping this series to me.
2-0 win in this one. But doesn't take anything away from the fantastic season
Not at all.
that the Liberty Flames Lady Flames, right? Having a great season and coming out of that College Station Super Regional, knocking off the number 1 seed in the tournament. On the other side of the bracket, just down the road there in Gainesville, South Carolina, it'll be the world's largest cocktail party, but in the softball world, as Florida will be hosting the Georgia Bulldogs in the Gainesville Super Regional. What do you think about that one, Brian?
I love Florida here. I mean, Georgia's had a good season, but I love Florida here. They're so solid top to bottom. I've always been a fan of Mia Williams, who's Jason Williams' daughter. Yeah. Just such a great player, and they're just loaded. In fact, I think they have a real shot at winning a national championship here. But I'll say that they take care of it in 2 games as well. Ironically, these 2 teams did not meet in the regular season, so we don't have anything to go on. But give me Florida to sweep here.
Absolutely. I like that. The Gainesville Regional, staying on that side of the bracket. Out there in Austin, Texas, the Clemson Tigers will be traveling to take on the number 6 seed Texas Longhorns. This one should be a pretty good matchup, although Texas is been a powerhouse for a long time in the softball world.
Yeah, golly, I hate
Clemson
being a total I hate being a total SEC homer, especially when it comes to Texas, who I have no love lost for. But, I mean, you want to talk about the true blue bloods of softball. Texas and Oklahoma have been hit.
No doubt.
Let's say Clemson sneaks a game here, but Texas wins 2-1.
All right, I like it. Staying on that side of the bracket, the Nebraska Cornhuskers came out of the Baton Rouge Regional. Almost got my SELU team to do that one. We're not picking these either, David, because I'm not going to lose a bunch.
I was listening to the show from Tuesday. Yeah. You're lucky. Well, I'm not saying you're lucky, but I am saying that whenever you were talking at the end to close the show out, the EAS system was going off. So you can't.
Oh, nice.
But guess what? We got recordings.
Yeah?
We got recordings, so I'm going to check it out there.
I don't remember me, but I certainly remember Paul because he said it, and I was like, dude.
Yeah, but that wouldn't wow me. I don't know why my brain would, you know what I mean?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
You saying Roll Tide saying something, that wows me.
Unless it's like a segment about some Alabama people doing Alabama things, then I'll end that with
Roll Tide.
Yep. It kind of goes hand in hand. But
EAS just magically shows up. Yep. It sounds like a conspiracy.
I wonder what it was an EAS for.
Apparently for Ryan saying Roll Tide.
Yeah. That's what
they thought the world was coming to an end.
That's
coincidental.
Right. Yeah. No, I dialed that one up so you couldn't hear it. Anyway, getting back to the Knoxville Super Regional, the number 7 national seed, Tennessee Volunteers, will be hosting the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who, I don't know, I want to say surprisingly, they got a good team, came out of that Baton Rouge Regional, and they'll be taking Tennessee. What do you think about this one, Brian?
Well, it's poison anytime I say anything positive about University of Tennessee.
I guess apparently I say Roll Tide.
I will say this, Nebraska has long put a lot of support into women's athletics. And so they do have a very supportive athletic department. So it's not a huge surprise to me that they're doing well in softball. That being said, oh gosh, I hate doing it, but I'm gonna take Tennessee to go through here.
2-0?
I'll say 2-1, just because I can't give Tennessee full credit for anything.
I understand.
I'm a hater.
And Nebraska's a solid team, so they can.
I'll do it this way. I'm going to say Nebraska takes the opener.
Ooh, I like that.
And then Tennessee rallies.
I mean, again, if you put your best pitcher out there in the first game, which typically they do, that's going to give any team a chance that's still left in this tournament, because obviously they were good enough to get there. On the other side of the bracket, what I think is going to be a very close battle, and I think it's going to go 3 games, is the South Carolina Gamecocks hosting the UCLA Bruins from the Big Ten. That'll be in Columbia for a super regional matchup. What do you think about the Gamecocks and the Bruins?
It's brutal to come across country. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem as rough west going east as east going west. I don't know if it's the time that whatever, but for whatever reason, I don't know why it just doesn't seem as bad. This is the one where I'm going to take my Homer hat off. I know South Carolina's been better this year. I know they're at home. I've just got this feeling UCLA gets this one done. So I'm going to take UCLA in the upset here. Let's say 2-1. And UCLA moves on.
I like it. I mean, this is probably on paper.
I mean, I can't put 6 teams in the World Series for the SEC. I may get 5, but I can't put 6 there.
We'll see. We'll see. I know there's a couple SEC matchups.
Yeah.
So you're getting 1.
We're guaranteed to get 3.
Yes.
We could get 6.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. But yeah, I agree. I think the South Carolina-UCLA matchup is probably going to be one of the closer ones.
Yes.
And UCLA has always been a perennial softball powerhouse as well. All right. Now, for those making the trip over to Tallahassee this weekend, they'll have an opportunity to see Florida State host the number 12 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Texas Tech, they had their hands full out there. I mean, Mississippi State gave them some games, which State was good, not great this year, so I followed that one just a little bit. I love Florida State's team this year. I love them being at home. I think Texas Tech's run ends here, and I think FSU moves on, and I'll give them a sweep. I say they go through 2-0.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. I like that. And then last but not least, we got 2 more series, both all SEC matchups. We'll start with the first one because we'll end with the second one saying Roll Tide. Arkansas.
I heard it that time.
Didn't close
there we go. Now I got a witness. Where's my notary at?
Stamp it. Arkansas hosting the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss, yeah, not super surprising. They've had a great season, but they did knock off Arizona in the Tucson.
Yeah, going out there
regional.
is tough.
No
they
doubt.
did a good job.
No doubt. But they will travel up to Fayetteville to take on the number 4 national seed, Arkansas Razorbacks.
So I've already said positive things about the University of Tennessee. If I pick Ole Miss as well, we'll get an EAS on me. No, I think Arkansas goes through here. I'll make it a 2-1.
Okay.
A good SEC series, but Arkansas goes through.
All right. Last but not least, another SEC matchup, but kind of maybe a little, I don't want to say lopsided, but the national powerhouse that is Oklahoma doesn't seem to falter too much in these super regionals. And the Alabama Crimson Tide, in my opinion, have a pretty uphill battle. What do you think, Brian?
Bama's beat them once this year, though. I will say that.
That was early in the season, right? Where they ended their however many long game winning streak.
Yeah, it was. But Oklahoma's firing on all cylinders. The way they always do, they peak at the end of the year. They go through. I'll give them a sweep. I think they go through easily.
Yeah, there you go. That'll make what? How many SEC teams in there?
That would I would have 5.
Yeah,
because you have the 3 matchups, and then I also had Tennessee going through, and I had
Texas.
Yes, Texas going.
And then, of course, Florida Georgia's going to put one in one way or the other. But I think
the one I did not have was South Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, they could have. Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
They should be able to get 6.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 total potentially out of the 8 would be absolutely nuts. But they're not all the favorites, and that's why you play the game.
I actually brought it up to Mark McLeod yesterday morning on the Coach Hale show. I said, do you think, I know we're all SEC guys here, but would it be good for the game if we didn't have 6 in the, SEC teams in the tournament? And Mark, being the SEC homer that he is, he goes, bite your tongue.
It's kind of been the theme in most sports, really. I mean, even in, women's college golf, a little different. Men's college golf, the SEC, Auburn defending national champions.
I think last year, if I remember right, the College World Series was for, what was it?
I think it was half, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was half. And I think they had 4. And then they had Oklahoma and Texas coming in, and then the ACC had the other 2 or something like that. Yeah. And it could end up like that this year, so we'll see. But
absolutely. We shall find out. On the other ball sport that is played on a field, and not field hockey, but that's men's baseball. We are getting into the nitty-gritty now as the SEC baseball tournament rolls on, and we've got some of the teams getting underway tonight for the first time this afternoon and tonight. Alabama was eliminated yesterday in a high-scoring game there against Tennessee, 15-10 in that one. Doesn't get any easier for Tennessee as they will take on the number 1 seed Texas Texas Longhorns. I believe that is at 2 p.m. today on the SEC network.
3 Central's been pushed
Central.
back.
Oh, okay, it's been pushed back. Gotcha. But I think there's probably a game going on as we speak.
Do. So Texas A&M, who beat my Bulldogs yesterday, because that game got pushed back.
Yes, a lot of weather has been.
Well, look, A&M's playing for their life here. I would say they were on the outside in, but if they make a deep run in this tournament, they could get in. I still think the SEC is only going to get 13. I think Kentucky may be in trouble now if A&M jumps up. Yeah, really. But A&M leading Auburn right now, top of the fourth. A&M up 3-0. A&M got a 3 spot in the top of the third.
Well, Auburn needs to get that together, and then I guess coming up later, we've got, like we just said, we got Tennessee and Texas, Oklahoma and Vanderbilt, as Oklahoma advanced over Georgia 3-2. Oklahoma the 12 seed, Georgia the 5 seed. Oklahoma will take on the 4 seed Vanderbilt later on today, and then tomorrow we'll have Ole Miss and Arkansas. Ole Miss had a nice 3-1 victory last night over the Florida Gators to move on to the quarterfinals. And then last but not least, whoever wins the Texas A&M Auburn game will face the number 3 seed LSU tomorrow.
How about that? Ole Miss, Arkansas playing in baseball and softball.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But when you have all these teams in here,
that's right.
It certainly has an opportunity to happen quite a bit. All right, got to talk about the Sun Belt Conference, because we got a lot of Troy fans, a lot of Southern Miss fans in this neck of the woods, and Troy, Southern Miss, and Coastal Carolina, all the top 3 seeds in this particular tournament. Games getting underway today. This one may be complete by now. What time is it? Yeah, this game started at 9 a.m. Let's see if I click on live stats. It'll tell me that is I don't want to watch it. I just want the live stats. I can never find stuff to watch when I want to, and then, of course, I click on that, and it tells me. That's Texas State was facing the number 3 seed Troy. Again, that was 9 a.m. Central Time. Trying to find a score for all you Troy alumni out there. Troy's had a fantastic baseball season. Stat broadcast getting ready. Our internet connection. Oh, here we go. Troy in the top of the ninth. So the game is almost over. It looks like if there's no outs yet at the top of the ninth, but if Texas State does not score 2 runs to tie it up, the game will be over and Troy will move on. Troy is currently leading 4-2 in the top of the ninth. Some other Sun Belt games coming up today. You've got the number 9 seed Georgia Southern taking on the number 5 seed Louisiana. I believe that's the Raging Cajuns at the Riverwalk Stadium, which is in Montgomery, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on it.
Sounds right.
I'm pretty sure it's in Montgomery, off of Tallapoosa Street. That sounds like a Montgomery Street.
Yeah. Montgomery Riverwalk.
Be right
Stadium.
down there downtown,
There you go. You'll also have an opportunity to see Old Dominion, who's new to the Sun Belt Conference in the last couple of years, take on...
I'm laughing because they were in the original Sun Belt back in the 80s, and now they're new back in. So.
Yes, absolutely. They take on the number 2 seed Southern Miss, and last but not least, 7:30 p.m. tonight, number 4 seed Marshall will take on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. We got to take a quick break. Afternoon Delight Debrief coming up next.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Thursday. Some sun this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze out of the south-southwest around 11 miles per hour, and look for the high to be 84. Tonight, there will be clear skies with the temperature reaching 74 and a gentle breeze. Sunny tomorrow with a wind around 8 miles per hour and the high of 85. Saturday will have a high of 86 and sunshine. This weather is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Dust off your boots and get ready for some action. Let 'em Buck Productions presents the Vortex Springs 6th Annual Rodeo. This Friday and Saturday night starting at 7. Tickets are just $15. Buckaroos under 5 are free. Witness thrilling rodeo events sanctioned by the Professional Cowboy Association. We'll see you at the 6th Annual Vortex Spring Rodeo. Vortex Spring, 1517 Vortex Spring Lane in Ponce de Leon. For more information, call 850-258-8471.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back to listen to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, all the way to 30A, back across all the way to Tyndall Air Force Base. You can listen to us on 104.3. And if you're down there along the Forgotten Coast, you can listen to us on 101.9, Port St. Joe, Apalachicola, all those beautiful coastal areas. And as always, you can watch, listen, like, comment, subscribe and share, and also follow, which we very much appreciate, our social channels. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We are live streaming every day. If you call in, if you do something where you can hear your voice, you can go out and clip it out from YouTube, and you can post it. Just share our shows. We appreciate that. All it takes is a couple clicks of the button. You don't even have to put anything in the context. Just click share and then post. And then we appreciate that because that gets our shows and our information out there even further. You can also download our free mobile app. We're giving away T-shirts all the time. All you got to do is search up 104.3 in the Google Play or Apple Store, and it'll pop up right there. Download it. Look for the contest. You can listen to us anywhere you have your phone. Also, head over to ESPNPC.com. You can listen live there if you want to, but you can also download Scorpion or sign up for Scorpion TV. I'm sure you have to download it on your TV too, but sign up for Scorpion TV. Over 10,000 movies on demand, over 5,000 streaming channels on demand, including all your regional, local, sports, and news networks. Again, Scorpion TV, code ESPNNW. Also want to give a big shout out to Golf Plus. That's our studio sponsor. I'm hoping to have Alan on with us tomorrow. I know he's a busy, busy man. Their general manager is moving to another state. So if anybody's looking for a gig with a great company, just check out Golf Plus right there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza next to Firefly. And they've also got their more than 36-year-old store. The store is not 36-year-old. They've been doing business for over 36 years up there in Dothan, off of Montgomery Highway, a.k.a. 231. It is time. We got some afternoon delight debriefs lined up. Brian, you're going to kick us off today with one.
I've got a fun one. So this is now moved from the realm of possibility to reality. 1 year from now, folks, mark your calendars, May 2026. It's being billed as the biggest dope fest since Coachella.
Dope fest.
We are going to have the enhanced games, and where better to have it than Las Vegas, Nevada?
That's the degenerate capital of the world.
Exactly. So you're asking, what are the enhanced games? Well, basically, they are the Olympics with no regulations for
doping. Yeah.
So
just juice it up, baby. Juice it up.
According to The Athletic, it's being funded by a venture capital fund with backing from Donald Trump Jr. and billionaire Peter Thiel. So the idea was brought up back in 2023 by an Australian entrepreneur and lawyer, and it's gaining traction. And they've done a wonderful job in kind of seeding interest, because just this week they brought in Greek swimmer Christian Goklamiv. I always mess up the last name, but anyway, he actually just finished fifth in the 50-meter freestyle back at the Paris Olympics. So after that, he started training and using performance-enhancing drugs. and was actually able to swim faster than the current world record in the 50-meter freestyle, which was set not only by one of the best athletes in the world, but when the suits, which are now banned, were able to be used. So it's even better than the advantaged world records. So I think that's certainly seeding some interest. And one of the things the story talks about, he goes, look, everyone's going to be, pearl clutching going, I would never watch that, despite being glued to baseball during the steroid era.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be tremendously successful because there is something. I do think a lot of people have issue with it, but I do think there is something to wondering what can the human body actually do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting watching, and the societal implications we'll have to see. But apparently, it looks like it's happening. May 2026, the Enhanced Games, and if you're of my age bracket, all you can think back to is that classic Saturday Night Live skit, the all-drug Olympics, where the guy rips his arms off.
Yep.
So anyway, but I'm looking forward to this. I think it'd be pretty cool.
It'll be interesting. Hopefully, no athletes will be harmed in the.
I'm looking forward to watching it. I don't support it, but I am going to watch it.
It's a different aspect of things. I mean, what can these performance-enhancing drugs a real thing? And it's kind of, in my opinion, obviously, it'd be very entertaining seeing these. And they're going to have to come up with a set of records specifically for this. If this continues on into the future, but it also shows why PEDs are banned in Olympics and regular sports.
In the way that you watch some auto races, not that you want anybody to get hurt, but you do like to see the big wrecks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see. Is it just going to follow kind of the same Olympic path?
I don't know yet. I haven't seen all the details on all of that.
Because track and field would be wild in addition to swimming as well.
Yeah, and I think they were really smart in kind of leaking out this bit about a guy going under the world record. I do think that's how you build interest. So.
Yeah. Hey, with the betting on this particular situation, you're going to have to find out who's using what. What was their times before? Now,
he's only using albuterol or whatever.
Yeah, he's just using HGH. No big deal. This guy's using steroids, albuterol, and HGH. He's got the trifecta. His heart just stopped, but he's okay. He's okay. All right. I got one. Former MLB shortstop Rafael Furcal was arrested today. This was from 6 days ago in South Florida for, I promise you I'm not kidding, throwing a missile into a public-private dwelling or vehicle. The former Braves and Dodgers shortstop turned himself into authorities earlier today. Okay, so Florida defines missile in a super weird way, at least in the legal sense.
Yeah. It's,
whoever want only or maliciously shoots at, within, or into, throws any missile or hurts or projects a stone in another hand with a substance which would produce death or great bodily harm at, within, or any public, private, or public dwelling, occupied or unoccupied, public, private bus or train, locomotive, railway car, caboose, cable railway car, street railway car, monorail rail car, so don't do it at Disney, or vehicle of any kind for which being used to occupy by any person or any boat, vessel, ship, or barge lying in or plying with the waters of this state, or aircraft flying through the airspace of this state shall be guilty of a felony of the second degree. Florida Statute 790.19. So he didn't physically have a missile.
No. Furcal's a true Florida man. He threw some rocks in a plastic bottle in a Publix parking lot.
He did not fire like a surface to air.
And missiles don't just work unless you actually fire them from something. Like you can't just push a missile into somebody and hope for the best. So he threw a rock or bottles, rocks.
Yeah, and then he picked up a larger rock about the size of a small palm.
Ah, interesting.
And threw it at him. Threw it at someone, and that caused injuries.
Ooh. Not good. Either way, it's not a good situation there for Rafael. This is one show, women, pregnancy, they're a lot stronger than us. I will say that. Without, the moms out there, we would not be here in the world.
Oh, I saw this one.
Yeah, did you? New York news anchor completes broadcast while in labor. This is from today. Well, the story is from today. A morning news anchor for a New York station went into labor early in the morning. And she still anchored the morning show less than 2 hours later. Olivia Jacquith, if I pronounced that correctly, a morning anchor for WRGB-TV, CBS at CBS 6 in Albany, anchored the 6 a.m. news broadcast on Wednesday after her water broke at 4:15 a.m. We do have some breaking news this morning. Literally, co-anchor Julia Dunn said at the start of the broadcast, Olivia's water has broke. Jacqueith insisted that it was still early labor while her contractions were far apart, and went on to anchor the entire broadcast before going to the hospital. A counter in the corner of the screen explained why it was 2 days past Jacqueith's due date. The anchor had announced in February that she and her husband, Tin, were expecting their first child. News director Stone Grissom praised Jacqueith in a statement issued after the broadcast. We couldn't be more thrilled for them, from her on-air pregnancy announcement earlier this year to running a half marathon while expecting. Olivia has met every stage of this journey with grace and grit. Today was no exception, Grissom said. Olivia's passion for storytelling, love for her hometown, and commitment to our viewers has always been evident. We're overjoyed to soon welcome our newest and tiniest member. Okay. Women can do anything, apparently, and they can do...
Yeah, this probably solves the argument over who's tougher, too.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, interesting stuff.
I can't work today. I have a hangnail. Yeah, well, I'm into labor.
And she's there. Pretty wild stuff. You got any more, Brian?
I do. So I love the ones that are lottery based here. So I've got one with that. The North Carolina Education Lottery. I love how they throw that in there, even though they'll rob it blind, but sorry for that. So there were a total of 4,501 winning tickets in a Pick 3 drawing. Now you figure, how in the world did 4,501 people pick the same numbers? Well, guess what the numbers were?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, just a Pick 3.
Okay,
911.
Oh, there you go.
So, and that resulted in over $1.24 million in prizes being won, because the way that it's set up on the Pick 3, if you purchase a 50-cent ticket, you win $250. If you purchase a $1 ticket, you earn $500. So, look, it's a 1 in 1,000 chance anyway, so you're getting paid out about half the odds, but this is probably, if not the largest, one of the largest payouts they've ever had.
Wow.
Because that many people picked it. So 911 actually paid off in this case.
There you go. Pick 3, 911.
There you go.
911. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy lottery, like ironic lottery stories.
Great
People
ones.
like using their phone numbers or just going by on a whim and buying lottery tickets all the time. And that's why people play the game. We do have a guest on the line. I'm going to get to him as soon as I read this story. North Carolina police eject alligator from pool deck. This is a story was reported yesterday.
Yes, it was running on the deck.
Police in North Carolina responded to a resident's pool deck to eject an unwanted visitor, an alligator. The Sunset Police Department said on social media that a pair of officers were called to remove a surprise visitor lounging on a local pool deck. I always say the cops always get called in to deal with these crazy animals. Is that part of their training? I mean, goats, like Jay called in to have his goat removed from the pool, alligators, snakes.
I would imagine, well, in Florida, more people are probably aware of Fish and Wildlife, but I would imagine in other states, they certainly wouldn't have the number handy.
No doubt. The post included photos of the alligator wandering amid the furniture on the deck. With a little patience and a lot of respect for those teeth, they safely relocated the alligator back to his proper hangout spot at the pond. No sunscreen or swim trunks were involved, police wrote. The post urged residents to report any out-of-place wildlife to authorities, especially baby deer at this time of year. Please don't touch, feed, or approach them. If they seem out of place or in a potentially unsafe spot, please give us a call and we will quickly assess the situation, police wrote. All right, now we'll get to our guest. Hadn't heard from him a long time here on the show. That is our good friend, Michigan Eddie. What's up, Michigan Eddie? There's where Detroit, Blue Rock City.
Yeah, where's Eddie?
He's not there. Is he not there anymore? Eddie, call us back. I wanted to hear the old intro of Eddie. It rings in my head. I can hear it over and over again.
Yeah, I'm looking at one here. This is creepy. These scare the hell out of me. In Missouri, a woman's driving down the road and from out under the hood while she's driving pokes the head of a black rat snake.
At least it's a black rat snake.
Yeah, just staring at her. And so she snapped a nice little picture and said the mother and son attempted to chase the snake out of the vehicle, but the snake was determined to stay and dip back under the hood. Good God.
Yikes.
I just don't think I could drive that car anymore.
Yeah, well, keep it around, keep the bad snakes away. But we got him back on the line. Michigan Eddie, how are you, my friend?
Go Blue Truck Series, they're bring up those back. Just watching the Jets take off and land from 10 to wish it was F-22s versus Fat Amy F-35, but it is what it is.
Yep.
So
I heard him this morning. They were rocking and rolling, that's for sure.
Yeah, the F-22 should be there, but you got the other jets, so it is what it is. My old squadron is now a Fat Amy squadron, so anyway. But I'm a Raptor guy through and through. I'm loyal. I'm loyal to a fault.
There you go.
I'm a People's Caller. I have nothing against them. They're Americans, American heroes and patriots. I just want to start flying another jet. That's all. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But were you guys talking about SAMs earlier?
Like surface-to-air missiles? No, we were talking about Rafael Furcal, who, used a missile, but missile defined by Florida law could be a rock or could be anything that you projectile. So, no, we were not talking about surface-to-air missiles.
Okay, that's right up my alley.
I figured it would be.
You know my background, so I heard Brian talking about, what's he doing talking about SAMs for?
Yeah. Just something I had heard.
I'm like, you're a swim coach and a collectible guru. Not a SAM guy.
Correct. That is correct.
So anyway, I was talking to Super Dave, saw him at church. I saw you also, Ryan, at church on Sunday and all that stuff. You guys look wonderful. And I remember when before the season started, a certain person that produces this show was kind of laughing at me because I said, watch out for the Tigers. They weren't just a one-and-done fluke from last year, right? But guess who owns the best record in the Major League Baseball?
I'll say it for you, the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, just saying. And since you got Brian on, and Ryan, you're a collector, I'm telling everybody out there, the People's Caller.
The People's Collector.
You want to start collecting Spencer Torkelson, Dylan Dingler, even though he's a Buckeye, and Jackson Jobe. And you want to get them raw, ungraded, and then grade them yourself so you can get them really on the cheap now, because in a while, those cars are going to be hot. And they're already starting to go up. So I tell you, the Tigers rookies right now, and Spencer Torkelson, former #1 pick overall, and now he's playing like it is hot. And Turk Skubal and Riley Green. You might want to go for Trey Sweeney as well, and all that. So I'm just saying. I mean, they're legit, man. Stock up. Am I right, Brian?
I think so. I mean, obviously down here just for local selling, the Braves are always going to be the best. But yeah.
Austin Smith-Shaver.
Yeah.
I got an auto him. I'm bringing in the shop to get graded because I got the frozen tractor of him, right?
There you go. That's right.
And then I have an auto, too, and now he's like one of the number 2, number 3 starter for the Braves, and he's doing really, really good. Almost had a no-hitter. So Austin Smith-Shaver, you want to get to and get graded as well.
I agree, though. I think Torkelson's a great pickup right now because he's somebody a lot of people had gone into heavy early and dumped. And there's a lot out there that you can pick up on the cheap, and he's really playing well. So that's a good one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, since I got a printing plate of Jackson Jobe on the cheap and 101, and then you got a lot of national treasures and flawless baseball stuff on the cheap. But, Brian, you got to tell them your advice. Don't send in the PSA thick cards because they won't grade good. I learned that the hard way.
PSA makes the most mistakes at all.
Well, just thick cards. Look, a thick card has 8 corners instead of 4. So you're doubling the chance
3D.
Of an issue. And thick cards do not grade terribly well, certainly with PSA, but really with anybody. So you just have to think about that.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. That's right. But anyway, and the Lions, NCDC, they're back in the tush push, which is fine with me. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you, since we're talking about cards, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears mistake on the leg, kind of like the Cleveland Indians, who the Tigers are playing, by the way. And they are the Indians, Chief Wahoo, was a term of respect, not this woke culture. But I'll tell you, Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson and Roma Dunze are going to be something else. So you want to hold on to those cards and don't dump them, even though he doesn't want to be there, so to speak. He's got Ben Johnson now as his head coach. So hang on to Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze. Am I right on that, Brian?
I think so.
Yeah.
I hate having to agree with you this much,
That's twice. Twice in 5 minutes.
I'm kidding, Eddie.
I know. But And I'll probably be back in the store and see what new product you got up in there, you know, at the hobby, and see to diversify the collection and the investment portfolio and all that stuff. So, anyway, hey, for all your hobby needs, man, go to Brian at PCB Hobby, man. He's the man. He knows what he's talking about. He's helped me out a lot. So, anyway, so. What else you guys got? The Red Wings are out of the playoffs. Pistons are out of the playoffs.
The Red Wings are never in the playoffs.
Very, very quickly, Eddie, you fly, but, I mean, this is a commercial flight thing. Have you seen this deal? These low-cost airlines are officially launching standing-only seats.
Safety first.
Oh, my God.
So, Deanna showed me that. It reminds me of, like, those standing-up roller coaster seats.
Yeah.
You know?
Are they bringing back smoking on planes, too?
Those are stupid.
Yeah, and for all you guys out there, just take a look at where the lap belt hooks, and I guarantee you're not picking them up.
I got you.
It's just the airlines. I mean, that's why I fly Delta. Delta's the best airline. American's terrible. United's terrible. Spirit's terrible.
I used to fly Continental growing up, but I've been on the Delta since I've been in.
I mean, I'm a Delta baby. They're not perfect, but they have far less issues than American, United, Spirit.
Their customer service is great, too, typically.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got the Sky Clubs and all that, so Delta's worth that. Especially flying out of here, you go through Hotlanta, then a 40-minute flight to Hotlanta, then wherever else you're going to go. And plus, it's Detroit's hub, too, as well. Just saying, University of Michigan Airline, go blue, baby. Which Michigan got knocked out of the baseball tournament yesterday in all theory. They lost to Illinois in extras. So they'll play UCLA today, but they can't advance. So they're not going to the College World Series. Then the softball lost. You know, they lost to UCF in an elimination game, even though they beat UCLA in the Big Ten title to make the tournament. And UCLA's still in it, so we'll see. Then you got the SEC tournament going on. So a lot going on, man.
Yeah.
And hey, and this weekend, bro, Memorial Day, remember our fallen veterans, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, remember them? And then it's the best racing day of the year. You got the Indy 500, the Coke 600, bro. And then you got baseball, man. Hamburgers and hot dogs, bro.
That's it. Despite not being in football season, we are still got lots of sports and excitement going on. Michigan Eddie, we got to take a break. Appreciate you giving us a shout, and hope all is well, my friend, and I will keep thinking about you. That is for sure.
Right back at you, man. A lot of us are going through the same stuff, man, more than you know. So thoughts and prayers to everyone out there that are listener and our listening family that are going through stuff. So we love you. Go Blue Truck Series. Hey, and get us some breaks, man. Get some great cars. Get some bangers. I'm out.
Some bangers. Maybe get some MASH, too, while you're there. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive. That is the People's Caller, Michigan Eddie. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Home just got more dangerous. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your spot for the afternoon underdogs.
One of the more underrated, fast as lightning. You know that he's got perseverance.
Weekdays 4 to 6 live from the CBC Construction Studio. Reactions, rants, and your calls at 850-215-6290. The afternoon underdogs are live and local. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind at 11 miles per hour coming out of the south-southwest and 84. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 85 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, hot with a high of 86 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job. It's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control. Our family protecting your family.
Jason Mulder, owner of Best Way Portable Buildings, reminds you, along with portable buildings, they now offer screen enclosures and pole barn construction. Best Way has a stellar reputation for delivering only the best in portable buildings, period. And from the entire team at Best Way, please take a moment this Memorial Day to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice to keep us free. Best Way Portable Buildings, north of the Old Mall on Highway 231 in Panama City. And online at bestwayportablebuildings.com.
Broadcasting from the Golf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, we're your home for the Atlanta Braves right here in the Florida Panhandle. Game coming up tonight. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Yesterday, obviously, it did not. And we got another one coming up tonight against the Washington Nationals. First pitch, if weather holds out, will be at 5:45. So the afternoon underdogs will go through. I believe probably you guys will end your show at the 5:40 segment when it goes.
5:43.
Ooh, 5:43. So it's
Yeah, we just we cut out, then we go to a 2-minute commercial break, and then go right to the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, first pitch.
There you go. They're trying to get back over 500 as they did get over it, but then drop back to 500. I believe they're 24-24 as we speak. SEC baseball tournament. Don't have any live games right now, right?
SEC tournament, the only game we have. Auburn, A&M. A&M still leads 3-0.
Nice pitching performance so far by the A&M pitcher.
Hey, they blanked Mississippi State, too, so they haven't given up a run here in 14 innings.
Here in quite some time. Tennessee and Texas coming up later. Oklahoma, Vanderbilt coming up later as well. And then you've also got the Ole Miss-Arkansas game as we're getting closer to the Arkansas-Ole Miss game is going to be tomorrow.
That's correct.
And then LSU will face the winner of that Texas A&M Auburn game. What inning is it in?
Top of the 5th.
Okay, so still got a little ways to go in that game. And that's the thing about these baseball and softball games and tournaments is, these teams can go on runs very, very quickly, tie games up, take the lead, whatever it may be. But, rocking and rolling. Sun Belt Conference is underway as we speak as well. I believe that Troy ended up finishing that one off. Let me pull it up. It just takes a good 10 seconds for it to load, so I don't want to give too many. But hopefully Troy was able to hold on there in the 9th inning. About to find out here in a second. Yes, final score there, 4-2. Troy will advance on. They will advance to play the winner of that was game 7, I think it was that was game 7. So they will play the loser of game 9. So is the Sun Belt Conference not just single elimination?
It may not be. I mean, this is the first year the SEC has been fully single elimination. Because when they were 14, there were
That's right.
A round or two of single, and then it went to double.
And you got to beat that team twice.
That's right.
That's right. Which, gives yourself a little bit more of an opportunity. Louisiana will be playing Georgia Southern here momentarily at about 3 minutes from now. That game gets underway, followed by Old Dominion and Southern Miss. And then later tonight, Coastal Carolina, the number 1 seed, will be taking on the Marshall Thundering Herd. All those can be seen on ESPN Plus if you are indeed a subscriber. And then it'll go all the way through Sunday, if necessary, in that final game, as a lot of these conference tournaments will run through the 25th. As Michigan just said in the last segment, we got lots of fun stuff coming up in the sports world all the way through Memorial Day. Hard to believe Memorial Day weekend is this weekend coming up. It'll be June next weekend. Just crazy, crazy fast right now. Over there on the Big Ten side of things, and Michigan, Eddie said it already, Michigan lost to UCLA 7-5. Coming up later, you've got Penn State and Southern California as Penn State beat Washington 5-3 yesterday. Illinois lost to UCLA yesterday, which put UCLA in that matchup with Michigan. Oregon will be taking on Michigan State, and they will continue on throughout the bracket until we get down to the final matchup series there in the Big Ten side of things. And, of course, after this is all done, we will have our regional matchups set. We might have a couple Sunbelt teams hosting regionals with potentially Troy, Coastal Carolina. I don't know about Southern Miss. Probably depends on how far they go in the Sunbelt Championship tournament. But again, most of these finishing up. We do have two that have already punched their tickets to the regionals, and that is Columbia University out of the Ivy League and Holy Cross out of the Patriot League. All the other champions will get to those automatic punches in to the regional tournaments, and of course the rest will be given to us. I'm assuming that's probably coming up on Monday or Tuesday, the selection show. I think Monday probably is when it all goes down.
Usually. It sometimes they push that just one day because they might have rain out dates or something like that.
Absolutely.
But they'll probably do what the SEC did with softball, was declared co-champions.
That'd be interesting if the weather doesn't allow them. Pivot over into the, I know you guys probably heard Keith Fleming talk a lot yesterday about the Charles Schwab Challenge. A name that's familiar to me, but may not be familiar to a lot of our listeners out there. John Pock is currently leading the tournament at 6 under par. Pock is not a regular on the PGA Tour, as he was a Florida State Seminole. I believe he did win the Jack Nicklaus Award his last year at FSU. He played over in the Camp Creek Seminole Invitational that David Hayes came out and watched when we were hosting that at Camp Creek. So nice to see his name on the top of a PGA Tour leaderboard. He's got himself in there by how well he's been playing on the Korn Ferry Tour. Followed by Patrick Rogers. He shot a 66. Ryo Hisatsune, I think I got that one right. I listened to it enough on the PGA Championship this past weekend, as he had a decent tournament. Him, Matt Schmid, and there's an old household name, Webb Simpson, all at 4 under par. Brian Harmon's one of the guys Keith had on his DFS list. He shot a nice 3 under par 67 to get the tournament going. I don't think Scheffler has started his round yet. He'll be starting pretty soon. The betting world in golf, 12:45 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone, so still about 15 minutes to get himself teed off. John Pock currently 5,000 plus 5,000. So if you want to take a flyer on him, usually these guys that get up there early in these tournaments don't end up being there on the final day. But hey, you never know. He may be able to take advantage of this opportunity. He's currently 168th in the FedEx Cup list. But right now he's projected at 52 if we were to go on, obviously, to win the tournament. Scotty Scheffler is in this one. Betting in golf's getting tough with Scotty and Rory being so good. Unless you're willing to bet a lot of money at a plus 225 or plus 350, you've got to go to other guys, and these guys are just so dominant. Scotty Scheffler wins the PGA Championship. I know we've talked a lot about it already, but we also talked the last time I was here with you about how it's become kind of this Rory Scheffler two-man race, and seems like Scheffler's kind of taken the starring role in that one. Do you think we'll get to a point with betting and all that stuff where it'll be like a Tiger Woods kind of thing, where we're just taking Scotty Scheffler off?
Scotty or the field.
Or taking Scheffler off the DFS or off these betting cards.
It could be.
He's so dominant.
As that grows, I could certainly see something like that happening. I think unfortunately it speaks more to the fact that we've really lost a lot of the depth of the top talent. Now, Scotty, I think, would still be the best player in the world if those guys were playing regularly. But I do think having, Bryson and Brooks Koepka and John Rahm and all these guys regularly competing on the PGA Tour, I think it would be a little bit better. I think there's this notion that we're back to the Tiger and everybody else days with Scotty. And in reality, we have more good players, I think, than we had in the late 90s, early 2000s, but they're just spread out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it's a weird dynamic in golf. Unfortunately, it's still bad for the game overall.
Yeah, I agree. And we only get it 4 times a year. It's not even the 4 times a year are your best in the world.
Yeah, and but you're not able to build up the rivalry
100%.
stories.
You don't have them going head to head in regular tours and all these different events.
Tiger's record over Phil makes you think, how is this considered a rivalry?
Yeah.
But it was, and it was a huge one. And you had times where Tiger VJ, Tiger Ernie, Tiger David Duval, there were some good ones there. We're not developing those as well right now outside of Rory because these top players who should be right in there are off doing the live thing. So it's really a shame, and I hope we can get it. I hope it doesn't take 2 decades the way open wheel racing did. So we'll see.
Hopefully not, because that'll be very, very destructive, unfortunately, for the sport. Scotty Scheffler was asked how close they thought to bringing the live golf defectors back to the PGA Tour, and he insists that it's the responsibility of those live golfers to kind of lead the charge coming back to the tour. I've said it a few times this year, if you want to figure out what's going to happen in the game of golf, go to the other tour and ask those guys. I'm still here playing the PGA Tour. We've had a tour where we've all played together, and the guys that left, it's their responsibility, I think, to bring the tours back together. Go see where they're playing this week and ask them.
It's the kind of response you'd expect from a PGA pro. I think it's a little short-sighted. I understand the fact that, look, they left. If we're talking about coming back, it needs to be in a PGA, and so you need to talk to them.
Yeah.
But I think I would also add the caveat of, will the PGA Tour address some of the legitimate issues? That the live golfers brought up, that they've somewhat instituted themselves, but will they go further with a couple of the ideas that I think are very successful for golf? The funny thing is, I think live I think they had won the ideas battle.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But the PGA is the established thing. So I would like to see the PGA Tour go, look, ultimately it's up to these guys to come back. But we would like to maybe implement 1 or 2 things that they had brought up that maybe we should have implemented before. It's going to take a little bit of...
Somebody's going to have to swallow their pride.
Exactly. And I think the tour could settle this if they would.
If they wanted to.
And I think it's such a lockdown. We have to prove we were right in the first place versus what's correct.
Well, and I think that's the underlying theme behind all this is what you just said. The PGA Tour, in my opinion, has to be the one to bring the game of golf back.
Agree.
And they've kind of died on this sword for going on almost 3 years now at this point, and they have to, and all the players have to be in agreement with that. Like, these guys went and got all this money. That's got to kind of be like, it is what it is at this point. Because if you're going to stay at that point and feel like they should have to pay something back or we should get additional money, I just don't know if it's ever going to get fixed because of that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I certainly think that for the PGA Tour's long-term success, they've got to get these guys. They got to get the DeChambeaus, the Koepkas, the Rahms, all these guys to come back, because without them, it's just not the best golf.
And it's such a shame because there's so much good young talent in golf right now. There were a lot of eras where there wasn't.
No.
They have it now.
Yeah.
The stories they could be telling right now are unbelievable if they could figure this out.
And that's another point, too. I just don't think the PGA Tour does a great job telling those
terrible
stories,
job.
engaging. You've got to paint who these guys are because, let's be honest, golf is a name-driven sport.
100%.
And the Freddie Couples, the Phil Mickelsons, obviously the Tiger Woods, are not around anymore playing golf week in and week out. And in order for people to connect and understand these guys, these young guys that are playing on the tour, you have to tell their story. Where did they come from? How did they get their break? What happened for them to get there?
And the longer this goes, the worse it gets.
Absolutely.
Because Brooks Koepka is already less of a name than he was.
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau is probably the closest because he's so quirky and unique.
Yeah, and he lives in that social media
and the
world.
YouTube golf thing. But John Rahm is a lesser name than he was. All the Sergios, the Lee Westwoods, all those guys are getting older as well. But Matthew Fitzpatrick's a lesser name than he was. All these guys were right there with the Justin Thomases and the Jordan Spieths and all of them, and they could be right in this mix. And the longer this goes, the worse it's going to get. They've got to figure this out.
Absolutely. And kind of shocked that it's still going on, but it goes back to what we were just talking about. In my opinion, the PGA Tour side has to swallow their pride, and they have to be the ones leading this charge to get the game back together, because the live guys are kind of over there being like, well, you know what? We made our decision. you guys got to counter with something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It makes for interesting conversation in the world of golf, but golf's such a weird sport because you've got compared to hockey and basketball and football, you've got this mass recreational side of the sport, which does tie in a little bit. The more exciting stuff goes on, I think the more apt people are to get out and learn the game or try to get better and put some more money into it.
The PGA is playing the odds that it is inevitable that LIV will not be what it started as going forward. And I think they're actually right because, number one, they're not going to invest the heavy initial outlay that they did for the World Stars because they don't. I mean, they actually have years of experience in what trying to get a TV deal is like, what kind of money they've brought in. So it's not going to be the same. The second problem is exactly what we talked about. The fact that the PGA is not developing new stars, who are they going to go make a $200 million splash to?
Yeah.
Doing it to Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm made sense. Who are you going to go do it to?
Yeah.
One of these new guys who won the Kemper Open, which probably isn't even a thing anymore.
No, but I know the tournament.
Right,
up
exactly.
there, Kemper Lakes Golf Club.
Yeah, you're just not going to have that anymore, and the guys who, Scotty Scheffler, who's at the tip top of the PGA, made his name, he's not going to leave.
No.
So they're not going to do this. So the PGA, I think, is playing a waiting game of where we're just going to let this fold in on itself just so we could say we were right. But what they're going to do is then they will have a combined weaker product.
Yep.
And that I don't think is good for the game. Or, quite frankly, I don't think it's good for the tour.
And like you were saying, Scotty Scheffler's not going to go out there and be like, hey, we need to bring these LIV guys back. He doesn't care. He's killing it on the PGA Tour. He's now in the top 4 of all-time money made in career earnings, and he's did it, at the age of 28 because the purses are so much bigger. And why are those purses so much bigger? Because the PGA Tour had to protect its players by increasing these purses, creating these signature events because they didn't want to lose any more big star athletes. And
something I'm not as aware of. I'm curious if you know, how has this affected the DP Tour?
The DP Tour is still existing and all that stuff. But
it has to have weakened it.
I would think so. Yeah. But the DP Tour allows crossover between the LIV and the DP Tour. So you can still have, and like the Rory guys when they play the Race to Dubai and all this stuff. They're still playing in those tournaments, which is, they want to die on the Saudi Arabia story.
Oh, sure.
You got Rory going over there playing all the time, winning those tournaments. So again, the DP World Tour was never, I think, competing with the PGA Tour. It was kind of another leg of professional golf that guys that maybe weren't as good can play on, except when you had the guys playing the Scottish Open and stuff like that.
I know we're up against break, but quickly, I always thought Bryson DeChambeau had an excellent answer when it came to the whole political part. And look, it's real.
Yeah.
But the notion that Saudi Arabia, how could you take, $100 million of Saudi Arabian money? He goes, well, look at it this way. They could be doing whatever they do that you object to with that $100 million. Or I could be using it for my charitable goals and all like that. And I actually thought that was a brilliant response and is 100% right.
And the PGA Tour is missing out on a huge... I mean, if Bryson was still on the PGA Tour and he was doing all the stuff that he's still doing, I mean, he would be probably the favorite golfer on the PGA Tour. And because he, took the blood money, he's shunned a little bit by a lot of people. And I don't, he's doing wonderful things with his money, all those things. He's just a great character for the game.
Just imagine how much fun we could have with Bryson and Brooks.
Yeah.
Over and over and over with their legitimate dislike of each other. Oh my God, it would be like golf with boxing gloves. It would be fun.
No doubt. Little kind of Bird Johnson-esque from back in the day. But not the case. I don't feel like it's any closer yet.
We're not fixing golf today.
Yeah, hopefully at some point they'll all come back together and not just be in major championships. But you are listening to The Inside Drive. We got to take our break. Final segment coming up next.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
Got into a heated debate a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. Deep dish is not the true Chicago pizza.
Oh boy.
Tavern-style pizza is the true Chicago pizza. Like if you are a native Chicagoan, you're going for the tavern-style pizza.
Can you explain what that is?
A lot more than you're going for the deep dish style.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Want to experience the ultimate car wash? At Tommy's Express, you'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading, flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Try us for free. Text WASH 415 to 86697 to send our best wash, The Works, directly to your phone. You'll love the sudsy clean, ceramic wax, underbody flush, spot-free rinse, and tire gloss. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today. Offer valid to new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional and information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
That boot store can help you dress in style, from casual Western wear for a night out with family and friends to a special meeting that requires a fashion touch with Western flair. From boots to hats, belts to shirts to jeans and a lot more for the smallest of the largest in name brand Western attire, including Carhartt work clothes. Shop that boot store for the whole family. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia, 15th Street, Panama City, where God is good all the time.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. Spreads, picks, and parlays. Get the breaking news, insider angles, and expertise so you can run your game.
I told y'all to run that.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 3-1 now, Texas A&M over the Auburn Tigers. What inning are we?
We're heading to the bottom of the sixth. Auburn got one in the bottom of the fifth.
Nice.
A&M went down in the top, so we're about to come up in the bottom of the sixth here for Auburn.
3 more opportunities for 4 more opportunities, for those Auburn Tigers to tie or win the game. Obviously, we're a partner with the Auburn Sports Radio Network here on the Inside Drives. We'll have Brad Law coming up next Tuesday, as we do every other week with Mr. Brad, who is a fantastic interview, and always appreciate his insight there on the Auburn Tigers.
And it was a Snow home run to left to
single shot
to get Auburn on the board.
All right. Let's see if I can squeeze all of this in the final segment. Had a fun one for you guys. I always try to find one fun one when Brian's here on Thursdays. Borrowing a concept from video games. Imagine if each major sport was allowed a team to activate one power-up per game. A short strategic advantage that changes the flow of play. What would it be? When would you use it? How could it impact coaching and gameplay?
Well, that's the enhanced games.
Yeah, very similar. Just get the old needle in the arm. But kind of some examples. NFL.
Yeah, just curious.
A 90-second period where a team can't be penalized for offensive holding. I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs here, but
I was going to say for any LSU game I ever watched.
There you go.
I don't know if I love that one as much, but
some of these other ones are a
interesting concept.
Yeah, and maybe do defensive holding as well. Just knock people over and hold them down.
Yeah, you can't be called for pass interference for an entire series. That would be interesting.
That's a good one.
Poor receivers would be dead.
Yes, it'd be like
the Steelers would be in good shape. DK Metcalf is.
It's like watching a 7-on-7 tournament.
Yeah.
NBA, 1 2-minute stretch where your team gets double points for every basket made.
A game of basketball is already a game of runs as it is. I think that would be insane.
What was the old game? Was it double dribble where you could hear, like, when you had like a hot streak where you couldn't miss? You could hear it in the music or something.
Oh, that's
maybe it was
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam.
Yep.
Yeah, double dribble. I'm really saying how old.
Yeah.
But no, it'd be cool if there was a way to do that where you just had a in the zone for 30 seconds.
That's what Naismith did last night.
Total sidebar here, but last night me and my buddy after the game played a game of NBA 2K25.
Nice.
And we played with all-time teams. He played with the Pacers, and I played with the Hornets.
Ooh.
And I was joking because because Kemba Walker was so small compared to like everyone else on the floor. I was like, man, he's looking like Muggsy Bogues out there.
Yeah.
Then they bring in Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues looked like a little, like a bigger Reed out there. And I'm sitting there driving into the lane with him. Anytime I'm playing defense on like Halliburton on the perimeter, it didn't matter. Like he could just pull up and shoot, and I am no issue to him whatsoever. How was that watching Muggsy like in real life?
5'3". Oh,
Spud
he was
Webb size, right?
No, he was 4 inches shorter than Spud.
Was Spud 5'7"?
Spud was 5'7".
Oh, okay.
Muggsy
Those guys could
Bogues
jump out
was
of an
the
arena, though.
fastest, quickest guy I can ever. He had so many steals, it was unreal. But yeah, I mean, he would come around a pick so quick. He was fun to watch. I mean, obviously, you know, if you ISO'd him, you know, it could be tough, but God, he was so quick.
Well, and
He was
being
fun.
that short actually is an advantage. Like when David and I are doing flag football practice and we get in there and kind of play with the kids, I can't get their flag because they're so far down there, and then vice versa, they're right there where the flags are.
I will say your ball handlers generally were not as tall then as they are now. Now, I mean, there was Magic.
Yeah, but you didn't have the guards that are all
but
now
most
6'4",
of your guards were
6'5".
6'6", They weren't the 6'4", 6'7", you know, point forwards, things like that.
Yeah.
But no, Bogues, he was fun, man. It was fun.
No doubt, no doubt. Had him a little in NBA 2K25. All right, Major League Baseball, a single inning where batters can't strike out.
Well, how would Giancarlo Stanton do that?
Yeah. I mean, those innings would take so long in baseball these days.
Bring back like Chris Davis into the league. He'd have 42 swings.
Yep. That'd be wild. I mean, these are all hypothetical, of course.
Absolutely.
But
I mean,
fun.
I guess, you know, for me it'd be more, and it would be full on cheating, but let's say you get an extra player in basketball for 2 minutes, or baseball, you get the Rob Manfred ghost man on second base or whatever. You get a runner.
Yeah.
You know, you get to, you know, one inning you get to put a runner out or something. It takes away from the overall integrity of the game, but it would certainly make it interesting.
No doubt, no doubt. NHL, they said a 90-second super power play where the opposing team loses 2 players.
5-on-3?
For a regular power play situation. Oof. 5-on-3 is tough, but again, you can activate it, and it's 90 seconds long. And you know, I wonder, you would have to have the caveat: if you do score, you get the players back. I would imagine that, because that's just like a real power play. Soccer, this is a wild one: a 1 minute or a 3 minute phase where offsides is not enforced.
That actually could be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can argue that should be allowed in the game, because it's still 11v11.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you could be anywhere. I mean, you could make kind of a similar thing with hockey, really, and just not have an offside there. Absolutely. Or no icing or whatever. You could do a couple of things. But I actually think that one could be very interesting. Yeah. In fact, maybe that's what you do with extra time. In that you just say, all right, no offsides.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it'd be hard to unlearn that, but that one I'm kind of in favor of. That one would be neat.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Yeah, I mean, overtime get you or extra time get you a more opportunity. How often to not do teams just play to keep it going and eventually get into the shootout?
But games need to end with actual play. I've never liked the game ending with PKs. It's like ending a basketball game with free throws. I just don't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of all that work you put into, and then it comes down to you know, your keeper or your shooter making it happen. All right, let's talk about the games coming up tonight. The Timberwolves at the OKC Thunder. Thunder is -7. That was the same line in the other game, and Doc A told us to smash that line on Tuesday, and if you did, you would have been pretty happy. Brian, what do you think happens again tonight?
I think T-Wolves are going to come out ready to play. I'm still going to say the Thunder win, but I think they squeak one here. So I would take the T-Wolves with the points in this one. If it was maybe like 3 points, it'd be tougher, but I like them getting 7. I think they're definitely going to stand up in this game.
They kind of have to at this point. You don't want to go down 2 heading back home. Over-under, I think this is pretty similar to what it was on Tuesday, 216.5.
I'm going to take the under there. I just have a feeling this is going to be a more physical game. So
a little more defensive than that first one. All right, on the NHL side of things coming up tonight, the Panthers and the Hurricanes. Again, it is a -1.5 point game there for the Hurricanes, although the Panthers kind of dominated that first game. Over under 5.5.
I mean, playoffs have seemed pretty high scoring, so I'm going to take the over.
5.5. I mean, that's only it's 4-3. Only, but you get a hot. Bob's played pretty well in that first game, only allowing 2 goals.
The Panthers just have something dialed in right now. I'm going to stick with the Panthers on this because I think they're going to take this series fairly easily, and I'll take the over. Panthers in the over.
All right, there you go. If you take the Panthers straight up, it's plus 115. The over is plus 105. So if you parlay those two together, don't let those bonus bets affect you to try to get that extra leg. That's what always happens to me. These 4 Supermax parlays, I throw in that 4th one to get the bonus bet, and that leg never hits. But as David Hayes perfectly quoted, the last leg does. If you missed the parlay, it is certainly the last leg that never hits every time. But you can get 3-1 odds on the Panthers to win straight up, and then the over 5.5 goals. That looks like a pretty solid 3-1 bet right there. But games coming up tonight. Let's do some Major League Baseball ones. I know you guys are experts when it comes to Major League Baseball.
In our own mind.
Yeah, there you go. A lot more expertise than me. That is for sure. There's a game going on right now. Let's
we got 2 games going.
Yeah, 2. They always separate that first one.
Rangers and Yankees are scoreless through 5.5.
Yep.
And Padres are up 2-1 on the. Blue Jays just scored
2-2.
Literally as we speak. 2-2, bottom of the 3rd.
That's the thing about the Hard Rock is it's always way ahead of whatever else, so you can kind of trick people into some 30.
Well, you better be if you're gambling.
That's right. That's right. It's live in person, not in person, but live on your phone. Rockies Phillies, kind of a big spread in that one. Obviously, Phillies' second best record in the league. Colorado is a dumpster fire. What would you do in that one at 3.5? Just curious. 3.5. Obviously, the Phillies are favored 3.5. It's a pretty big number in baseball.
It's a big number.
I mean, it's the Rockies.
I love even a bad home team that's plus 230. I always love the money line at that. So even though the Rockies are awful, I might like the money line a little bit more even than the 3.5, but I'll take the Rockies just to be different.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, plus 250, certainly.
Plus, I hate the Phillies. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's fair. All right, let's go to the Braves Washington game. Atlanta is a 1.5 run favorite in that one. Over under 8.5, but Hard Rock thinks that the under is more likely to hit than the over. Washington plus 125, Atlanta minus 145 on the money line. Let's see what some of these player props are.
Washington hadn't been very good at home this year. I mean, they're under 500, and of course they're under 500 overall.
Dave, you know who's pitching tonight for the Braves?
Should be A.J. Smith-Shawver.
That's correct. Yeah, he's listed against Williams.
Yeah, Trevor Williams.
I'll take the Braves to win here. What was the line on that one? 1.5?
1.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Braves to win here. Okay. I would think they'd cover that win by 2.
There you go. Well, I mean, plus 105 at 1.5. I wonder what their individual run total is. I seem to do better with that than the actual total over-under. Braves at 4.5. Over that would be minus 110. Over 5.5 would be plus 145. I think, they scored 3 in the first game?
Yeah, it was 5-3.
Yes. I kind of like. Yeah, I was going to say I kind of like that 5-3 score line. So
it's 4.5, and let's see what that would calculate. 2 minus 1.5, and over 4.5 gets you plus 150. Not too bad. You throw in a over base
maybe a Marcell Ozuna homer call, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
Dave tried to make me so much money in Vegas and I didn't get it in time. The game had started and both of his bets would have hit in a parlay. So
it was just the Braves to win, but Marcell Ozuna, because I looked through his home run log and he hadn't hit one in 15 days, so I was he's due. Come on.
In the time it took me to get down to the sports book and lay it, the game had started and I couldn't get it in.
Can you can't live bet in, or is it because it was a home run prop?
Probably not on the home run prop anyway, but no, or it would have changed, but I don't like in-game betting. It's just me personally.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's,
but no, I couldn't have got it the way I wanted. I think now because it's all digital anyway, and it's an MGM property, so
gotcha.
Not trying to undermine Harder. No. BetMGM, I'm sure has all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of those Atlanta Braves, they're coming up tonight, 5:45. That'll cut the afternoon underdogs just a little bit short at 5:40. 43. Still tune in. Check them out starting at 4 o'clock. Of course, you can. We'll be back here tomorrow. I believe Jay Henley will be back in studio as well, so you got to make sure you tune into that one. I believe hopefully he brings a guitar again, because that was so much fun last week. We
Yankees on the board.
There you go. There you go. Should have live bet the Yankees, but I'm sure the odds weren't too good because they're a powerhouse right now in baseball.
Which they got their first walk-off in like 900-something days last night.
Yeah, J-Dom.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You would think
he's been on a tear.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of a tear, we got to go. Enjoy the rest of your day. Watch some college baseball. Softball regionals starting tomorrow. You've been listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m.
The ride home just got more dangerous. 104.3